this is. So, Faith, if you could let me know what sort of time stamp you want us to start listening on, because it is a 7-minute video, which for some reason has, according to the timestamps on it, a 5-minute outro, which is very, very bizarre. Not too sure why that's the case. But there, IK Fuego saying I enjoyed that interview too. I thought Andre Vibes was such a cool guy, man. I loved listening to him talk about kind of his sort of expectations and how, I suppose being involved in the writing camps as well. It was really cool to kind of talk to someone that's very much involved in that sort of Maven approach at the moment. Maven's such an exciting thing to look at the moment as well. But yeah, I'd like to speak to someone at Empire if possible. I think that would be quite cool, because obviously Empire really, well, they're building an empire, essentially, of a lot of different Afrobeats artists and African rappers as well. I'd be really interested to talk to someone at Empire if I could, but there we go. Right, Magixx, Maven's overloading. I've got a timestamp. We're going to start at the beginning and stop at 2 minutes in. This one, again, Echo Room, a really cool channel. If you're not following Echo Room, do go and give them a follow. Similar to Glitch Africa, a similar kind of sound and feel, basically recreating a lot of kind of classic Afrobeats tunes. I don't know whether they're linked to studios, but they do a very similar thing. And yeah, we're going to check this one out now. Thank you to Faith for the suggestion. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, na, yeah. Hey. You get that shit, they be. You they at me like about me. I just wanna be there when you need me. Baby, now your matter are the reason.
Where does Magixx rank in regards to kind of breakout artists this year? Because obviously he was around last year, but wasn't kind of pushing the same way that he is now. Obviously being involved in the sort of Maven projects, being involved in this. Obviously Love Don't Cost a Dime as well. He's had a couple of cool features since this as well. Where would you kind of rate Magixx over the year? Has he kind of had a good year? Has he had an average year? Has he had a disappointing year? I'm keen to hear from you guys on this one, purely because Magixx is an artist we had the pleasure of interviewing earlier on in the year. We've interviewed quite a lot of the Maven lot, to be honest with you. We've interviewed A Star, we've interviewed Ladipo, we've interviewed Magixx as well. I'm keen to hear what you guys are saying about Magixx as an artist as well, because I think obviously this tune did bits for everyone involved. But how are you all feeling about this?
Overdosing, body overdose. I'ma say you carry overload, and you know you bad like commando. No romance, no go downgrade. Make a carry your luggage, and now they find you for 4 days, yeah. No trouser fit to contain. And your body na package. You know, say
I've got to say, I really like the orchestration of this as a new version. Obviously, the original is very, very specific. It's very kind of, it's very electronically produced, and you can hear that it's very electronically produced. But this one does have a really nice kind of free-form, almost jazz kind of feel to it, with its overall arrangement, which is really cool to see. I love the fact that you are getting to hear the more sort of delicate side of Magixx vocal as well. IK Fuego saying he's had a good year. Faith saying a pretty good year as well. I think he's had a pretty good year, honestly. And I'm not just saying that because we interviewed him. Of course, the highlight was coming on this channel. Of course it was. But yeah, no, I'm joking, of course. I think he's had a very solid year. I think he's definitely elevated his own stock, primarily through cool collaboration, which is such a good way of doing it. I think next year I'd like to see a full-length project from him. Where he is front and center a bit more. He seems to be front and center on a lot of the Maven stuff, but it's never kind of listed that way. So I think I'd like to see him in his own solo lane, being front and center of maybe like a 9 or 10 track project next year.
I'm falling for love, overloading, body overloading. Now you, I want, me love you, I think of follow, overloading, I'll be overloading your bank account, money plenty, tell me the amount.
Yeah, I'm really liking this as a recreation. I won't lie. I love this version. I love the way they've approached it. I love the fact that it is just very focused. It's very much focused on those guitars being the kind of lead element, rather than that sort of boom 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 that we hear on the original. And again, really cool use of delicacy style vocals, man. Again, you can hear a lot of emotion, a lot of fragility in his vocal performance. Really, really enjoyable. So yeah, we'll give this one another 30 seconds and then move on to our next track. But good stuff from Magixx. Lovely stuff. The sounds of Magixx, that one overloading on the Echo Room live studio scenario. Very enjoyable tune. I think this is a really cool recreation version. And I think as well, the interesting thing about this is you do get to see Magixx in a solo light. I think that's the only thing he's really missing from his year. I feel all of his big moments have actually been in collaboration rather than as solo standout points. So I would really like to see him... as I said, in the next year, really push himself on more of a solo level, not as like part of a wider collective. I think every other artist on Maven's currently doing that, apart from maybe Boy Spice. Obviously, his EP came out and then he went straight into the big sort of collaborative approach. Ayra's obviously had her project out this year. Ladipo's had a lot of kind of different bits out, not necessarily as much on the solo side of things, but he has had a couple of solo drops which have been big. Obviously, Crayon's had a big year with Ijo, a huge tune, that one. Rema's obviously had his big solo push as well. I think I've already said Ayra Star, but Ayra's obviously had a great year with the 19 and Dangerous Deluxe. So I think it's time for Magixx to kind of move into that space as well, push his own solo approach. That's what I'd love to see moving forward. Right, we're going to get into the next track then. We've only got a few left. And then we are going to round off. Again, I don't want to stream for too long and get tired and it not be entertaining for you guys. So we are going to get into a suggestion next from Banks.
Sound them sounding so good right now, but they're sounding a Brighton town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, Cam TV. Stay locked.